in this room, the journey to ending cholera starts with awareness. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? So let's hear it louder for all the healthcare experts present in this room who have made living possible. Can we hear it louder once again, everyone? Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I am absolutely thrilled to be your anchor here tonight, your MC. I hope that I do my job well and make sure that by the end of this event, you go back with a smile. And we are gathered here to witness a groundbreaking moment and to learn about the path-breaking research and development behind this vaccine. I now request Dr. Krishna Yella, co-founder, executive chairman of Bharat Biotech, to come on to the stage, please. Requesting you, sir. Please come on to the stage. Before we begin, let's honor the occasion by inviting our distinguished guests to light the ceremonial lamp. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together in welcoming our esteemed guests. Our special guest, Dr. Julia Kemp, head of major international programs with Wellcome Trust, leader in controlling infectious diseases in Asia and Africa. Can we please have you on stage, sir? May I now invite our guest of honor, Dr. Jacob D. John, eminent virologist and father of Pulse Polio program in India. Can we please have you on stage, sir? Our guest of honor, Professor K. VijayRaghavan, former principal scientific advisor to the Government of India, former secretary, Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, he is the force behind Arogya Setu COVID surveillance app and COVID preparedness programs. Can we hear it louder for them, ladies and gentlemen? May I now welcome our guest of honor, Dr. Jan Holmgren, a physician, microbiologist, immunologist, and vaccinologist. Dr. Holmgren is recognized for developing the world's first effective oral cholera vaccine and known as father of cholera vaccine. Ladies and gentlemen, now put your hands together in welcoming our chief guest, Sanat Chattopadhyay, Executive Vice President and President MSD. Well, he is the leading force in manufacturing monoclonal antibodies and vaccines. Well, I would now request all of you to please proceed towards the lighting of the lamp. Before we proceed, let us seek the blessings of Lord Ganesha, the harbinger of wisdom and success. And to proceed this lighting of the lamp, I would just like to say, Mushika Vahana Modaka Hasta, Chamara Karna Vilambita Sutra, Vamana Rupa Maheshwara Putra, Vigna Vinayaka Pada Namaste. Can we hear it louder, ladies and gentlemen? As the lamp is lit, may Lord Ganesha's divine light remove all obstacles from our path and bless us with the wisdom to create magic together. As we all are aware, the flame of the lamp represents the light of knowledge, illuminating the path of righteousness and prosperity. Thank you so much. Thank you for the lightning, the ceremonial lamp and setting tone for today's event. I request all our esteemed guests to be seated on the stage, please. I request all of you to please be seated, sir. Yes, please be seated. Please take your seats, and thank you so much once again, audience. Can we hear it round and huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin for our esteemed guest present over here. I would now invite Dr. Krishna Yella, co-founder and executive chairman of Bharat Biotech, to deliver the welcome note. Well, Dr. Yella is widely acknowledged as the father of Genome Valley, a Padma Bhushan awardee, recipient of 7 prestigious honorary awards, the only Indian to receive honorary degree from UW-Madison, and the Dean's Medal by Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. Can we hear it louder for him, ladies and gentlemen?
I'm not used to the talking from the speech, from the reading. I'm very bad in that. It's really honored to welcome to all of you to the Telangana, new state, Telangana. I think it's a vibrant state, proudly say. 2 out of 3 children are vaccinated with the Indian vaccines. 2 out of 4 children vaccinated with the Hyderabad vaccines globally. So that shows the commitment of Hyderabad as a Telangana, what it contributes to things. And I welcome to both guests from here and all the pediatricians and all the entrepreneurs, business people and our regulators and our drug controller, everybody here having here, spending time with us. It's really important for us in the life. I think, we thought, we will launch the vaccine by scientists, for scientists, and for the doctors. And I will tell you, many people will be thinking, do we have any relation with Merck? What is the Merck and Bharat Biotech is doing? I think we just looking at, I want to very clearly say, we're working with Hillman Lab. Hillman Lab is funded by Wellcome Trust and Merck, both as funding as a non-profit organization in Thailand. And I think that is the reason why we work with Hillman, and they're all here, both Wellcome Trust and as well as Merck. And I think we as a company, we are in the 3 verticals: human vaccines, veterinary vaccines, and food business. 3 verticals we are in, and different cities, 5 different cities we are in the country. And I think we are a strong believer of intellectual property protection, and I'm a champion for the last 20 years. I've been champion on that, on IPR issues. And we are the only company in the developing world have done efficacy trial. Many people do the immunobridging trial, but not the efficacy trial. Rotavirus, we're the first one in the developing world to do the efficacy trial, thanks to Indo-US WAP program, bilateral program, where we involved almost 65 scientists globally involved in the rotavirus project. And typhoid conjugate, we are the innovators in the world. First time in the world, we made a new molecule, a typhoid conjugate vaccine, which we have done Oxford human challenge studies and effectiveness studies in 7, 8 countries globally. This year, it was done in Bombay with CDC collaboration. And I think we also do Covaxin. You'll know that we also done the efficacy trial. So I think we are stand out in science on doing not just immunobridging, but we do the efficacy trial and effectiveness studies, which we have done in all the products, the effectiveness studies. And I think thanks to, again, Wellcome Trust, they funded us non-typhoidal salmonella project, which we got IND approved by FDA, US FDA, and we've completed phase 1 trial in Baltimore. And now we've gone to the phase 2 trial in Africa. Thanks to, again, Wellcome Trust, that is what funded us the project to move it. And we are looking at now how do we go about phase 3 efficacy trial for that. And I think, we have strong patent protection, and we have more than 150 publications. We are not a pure commercial company. We publish. In Covaxin alone, we have 9 Lancet publications. That speaks what the quality of the publication that we do it. And we have more than 400 patents. Why I'm saying we are not a Merck, so I'm a Bharat Biotech, small Indian company. So I have to brief so that what Merck doesn't have to explain everything. And I think I will say cholera is UNICEF wants to have eradicated by 2030, cholera-free world. And I think we want to be part of that game of anything can be contributed. And I think I want to thank, the visitors, Jacob John, number 1, and he's the father of Indian virology. And he's the one champion of the polio eradication globally and champion on these matters. And he's our mentor also to us. And I have a lot of respect for him, and thanks for having him here. And I think Dr. Kem, and I think she's a champion of the control of infectious disease in Asia and Africa. That fits into our motive as a company. Our vision was, how do we work on neglected disease? That's our mission as a vision project, as a neglected disease. Somebody asked me, why do you want to work neglected disease when there is no money available? So the reason is, we work on neglected because most of the neglected are in Asia and Africa. And that neglected disease what turns into pandemic. You look at all the pandemic, all comes from the neglected diseases. And that is what our vision was last 20 years, was to work on neglected disease, and one of our contributions is even cholera for that matter, as a matter of fact. So I think we focus on that, and I think Dr. Holmgren is the father of cholera vaccines globally. He developed all the cholera vaccines, whichever cholera vaccine is, whether IVI is doing, Sanofi has done it, whoever has done the cholera vaccine, it came from his lab. And I think we're really grateful to him having here. It's good recognition. I have many friends from US, from Seeds, Roger Glass, Harry Greenberg, everybody, Barbara Stoll, everybody remembers Holmgren when he was in Bangladesh. They all worked as interns under him. So he doesn't look like an old man, but he's really old, but he has done an amazing job to the global public health. I'm really honored having him, and I think we really fortunate to have him here. And then, the VijayRaghavan. He's a champion of COVID program in the country. We have seen him in every time how he championed in science to put a good science with a COVID eradication diagnostic purpose. And he has developed Hybiztv software. That has changed. Even when I was going to the hotel, they'll show me Hybiztv program, whether you're registered or not. I didn't know that. We have to upload everything. And I think how we've done digitalize, even COVID vaccination program, how we've done the registration of the program and digitalizing entire program was something phenomenal what Dr. VijayRaghavan has did. And I think Dr. Sanat Chattopadhyay, I think I consider him, he's a visionary. He's a visionary because he's a scientist, he's an engineer, and a leader. When he joined in Merck, the sales Merck was $24 billion. Today it is a $64 billion. That one man, how he drove one company in a highly focused matter to make it a global company. And Merck stands out in the globe. So coming to the last one, and the important is Hillman. Morris Hillman, I never met him. But if he was in academic, he was actually trained well for the academic purpose. Had he joined in academic, he would have got Nobel Prize. Me and Jacob John was talking about it. He would have got a Nobel Prize. But he believed only one thing, what I read in his book, that he want to see the technology has to reach marketplace. For that, academic will not be good. I want industry to be a partner, industry to be there. That's how he joined the industry. And he made it 40 vaccines. We consider him modern vaccine, father of modern vaccines in the world. And I think he's really honored that both Wellcome Trust, Merck, setting up that charitable organization like Hillman Lab, and that's a good cause for the world point of view. And I think we have Hillman colleagues, and Dr. Raman Rao and Parimal Desai, everybody's here, other colleagues from the Hillman Lab, all of them are here, and we are all grateful to have a collaboration. And I think the partnership is always believes partnership success comes from the top down, not from bottom up. That is one thing we all collaboration, in all our collaboration, we make sure that we commit from the top management from board and all our family members commit from the top and push them. Everybody has to follow that goal. And we have done that. And I think thanks for being all of us in this day today. And I welcome to all my many entrepreneurs who are here and friends are here. Thank you very much. And some of the partners are here. And I'm really grateful to everyone who spend on a weekday on the afternoon. And that is not an easy job in Hyderabad with all the traffic in place. Even 5 kilometers takes 1 hour here. So thank you very much for all of this, and honored being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Krishnella, for the welcome address. All right, so I want to see that audience sitting behind is not at all making some noise and putting your hands together. Tell me something. Have all of you had your breakfast? Yeah? All of you had your breakfast, right? Then come on, put your hands together for Dr. Krishnella. Such a motivating opening address that was. And as we all are here for the vital advancement in, global health, let me speak about cholera a little bit. Cholera is endangering children globally. Despite being preventable, children continue to suffer from the potentially fatal disease. And according to a previous study, researchers conservatively estimate that every year there are as many as 4 million cholera cases globally and as many as 143,000 deaths. So ladies and gentlemen, to talk more about the journey of this next-gen oral cholera vaccine development and significance about today's launch, I would like to invite Dr. Krishna Mohan, the whole-time director of Bharat Biotech, on stage to address the gathering. Can we hear it louder for him, ladies and gentlemen? Dr. Krishna Mohan. And I love this gentleman because he was the one who first told me, yes, I had my breakfast, and who smiled at me. Thank you so much, sir. The stage is all yours.
have the slides, please? That's it. Good afternoon, everybody, all the distinguished invitees, all my colleagues from Bharat Biotech, and all the guests who have been come here, and the press. We are truly honored that you are all here to bless us on one more product launch. We call it as BBB131, which is our next generation cholera vaccine. And I'm making this presentation on behalf of all my colleagues in Bharat who have been part of this team and made this vaccine commercializable today. The key collaboration has been with two organizations. As Dr. Ella mentioned, we have a collaboration with MSD Wellcome Trust Hilleman Laboratories, with whom we have a collaboration agreement, and we have been getting immense support from the University of Gothenburg because they have been the pioneers in the initial development of this vaccine. And we really wish to thank both Professor Holmgren and Dr. Michael Lebens, who is here, both from the University of Gothenburg, and they have been the real science and the characterization and the development of the vaccine, and we continue to depend on their guidance as we go along. Yes, and I think we had a short introduction as to what's the importance of cholera. Essentially, the WHO started a program quite late in the day, I would say, in 2017, which talked about how do we kind of reduce these cholera deaths, which has been spoken about. They came up with a program, and in all these programs, as you know, certainly WASH also, the water hygiene, sanitation, all these do play a part. But they clearly recognize that the game changer is going to be So quite early on, they said that we should look at cholera vaccines, look for how to effectively use them in the fight against cholera so that by 2030 we eradicate cholera. The question which we need to ask today, why was there an urgent need to at all develop a cholera vaccine? Weren't there vaccines when the strategy was set up? Weren't there vaccines which were in existence till 2015 or 2020? The answer is yes. But unfortunately, they have been unable to meet the demand. The current available vaccines have been unable to meet the demand. Some of them have gone out of production, or people were not interested in, or whatever be the reasons in setting up capacities. And there are also complexities of the existing oral cholera vaccines. So all these factors, which have been quite complex, have led to a problematic vaccine implementation strategy. So as was told earlier, we do have a series of cases which are coming up, not enough vaccine, and as you can see on the right side of the slide, there has been a global vaccine shortage which will run till next year or further on as it goes on. In fact, to combat the vaccine strategy, this vaccine is typically a 2-dose vaccine. The World Health Organization actually came up with a recommendation of using a single-dose vaccine so that everybody at least gets a dose of vaccine to protect themselves. What is new about us and the collaboration with Hilleman Labs and the university is that all 3 entities got together. A novel strain was engineered to express the required antigens. This strain does not exist in nature. It's an engineered strain made in the lab. And what it does is it gives you a tremendously simplified manufacturing process so that you can have very high production capacities. That's the real, without losing any of the other characteristics as you see when I go along. So I was told, in fact, we were having a little chat with Professor Holmgren, somewhere around 2009, 2010, there was a kind of a brainstorming which happened in the university as to what can be done new about cholera vaccines, and they came up with this novel strain idea of engineering it. And somewhere around the 2013-14, as I'm told, that there was an agreement signed with Hilleman Labs, followed by the agreement with Bharat Biotech to take it further to commercialization. That was what we were told. So in terms of the product development work, Of course, we benefited significantly from the Hilleman laboratories, which did the basic foundation work. We had to redo quite a bit of work at Bharat because it was more required from the Indian regulatory requirements. We had to follow some of the norms of RCGM, the recombinant genetic modification committees, the DCGI. We also set up new facilities, and we have quite well set up for those. And finally, this month, we had both the marketing authorization and the manufacturing license. So I can assure you that we are fully now licensed to market this vaccine, manufacture it across whichever countries we can go ahead. As is typical of all vaccines, I will not spend time on this. We go through a whole lot of preclinical work, which was done both in the Hilleman labs at Bharat, and then we ensured that we always compare it with a pre-qualified vaccine. In this particular case, Hilleman labs did the first phase 1/2 work in Bangladesh, and the results were quite good compared with the currently pre-qualified vaccine. We've found that the vaccine, the new candidate, elicited reasonably good antibody titers, which were comparable to the commercial vaccine. And we did, in India, a very large phase 3 trial, 3,600 subjects, both for immunogenicity and safety, because safety is a very important characteristic. The World Health Organization requires at least around 3,000 subjects to be established the safety. We have done that. We have followed them up for 6 months. We have a 6 months immunogenicity profile to make sure that the vaccine is not losing its, in terms of immune responses, the characteristics, all that has been done. And we are now pretty soon going to publish this. And but all this work, whether it is in the phase 1 trial or the phase 3, were done with a WHO pre-qualified vaccine so that you can get your pre-qualification fairly straightforward. Having done that, I just wanted to let you know that this particular vaccine is presented as respules. These are plastic respules, easy to use, and there is a single vaccine vial monitor which is at the bottom of the strip. You can see the square portion, and we have now fully geared up to manufacture this vaccine in India. We have 2 locations currently for manufacturing this vaccine. One, of course, is Hyderabad, the main Bharat Biotech campus, and we are setting up a state-of-the-art, absolutely world-class new manufacturing facility in Bhubaneswar, which is by name Sapigen, and this is really built to global standards in terms of whether it is the filling lines, whether it is the bioprocess, and these 2 facilities put together is where we will be manufacturing close to 200 million doses per annum. So with that, I would like to conclude and thank all my colleagues who have been part of this endeavor over the past 4 years to develop this vaccine, bring it to fruition, and we would continue our efforts and endeavor to control global and contribute in a small manner for infectious diseases. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Krishna Mohan. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Doctor. Well, the presentation that we just saw about the development of this oral cholera vaccine is just phenomenal. Can we make some huge noise and put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen? Well, the vision, the dedication, and the passion that has driven us to this momentous day are truly evident. So are you all ready to invite our next guest here on the mic? Are you all ready? Okay, I have to see the audience meter now, or else I'm not going to do this. Are you all ready? Yes. Not bad. Come on, Hyderabad. Show me some energy. Are you all ready? Yes. See, I can listen to that kid louder than you guys. Okay, let's do it like this. Towards my left, are you all ready? Yes. Audience on the left, are you ready? Yes. Okay, perfect. Audience on my right, are you ready? Yes. Okay, let's do it all together. Are you guys ready? Yes. Not bad. You need a lot of practice. I'll make you do that before we end this launch. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to invite our special guest, Dr. Julia Kemp, to address the gathering. Can we now make some noise?
So, esteemed guests of honour, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to join you today. Namaste. So Wellcome is a global charitable foundation, and we support science to solve urgent health challenges facing everyone. We are based in London, but we work internationally, and we have a number of major international partnerships around the world. We're celebrating one of these partnerships today, that with Hillman Laboratories and the partnership with Merck. In my own team portfolio, we also have another international partnership based here in Hyderabad, and that is with the Government of India Department of Biotechnology through the India Alliance. As a charitable foundation, Wellcome can invest over the long term. It invests from discovery science through to solutions. Wellcome always works in partnerships with those funding equitable and accessible solutions to tackle pressing global health challenges. It's these two principles of Wellcome's work, investing over the long term and working in partnership, that brings us to this launch today. My own career has been working in and with developing countries on global health challenges. So I've seen at first hand the spectre of cholera for displaced and vulnerable people during the humanitarian response to extreme weather events, such as tropical cyclones in Africa and Asia. I've worked in and with countries in Africa where cholera is endemic, where already stretched district health systems struggled to contain a cholera outbreak. In all of the response in those settings, science and research will underpin the interventions that are used. For example, quite recently, we can now use Earth observation data from NASA to develop complex predictive models for where there might be an outbreak, and then humanitarian agencies and health services can pre-position supplies and resources to treat the water, to be able to treat patients on the ground. But even with these tools and responses, all the healthcare workers and policymakers and humanitarian agencies on the ground know that the game change comes when science and research produces an effective vaccine which can be deployed in the field and taken to scale. Oral cholera vaccine is that game changer in the fight against cholera. And it's thanks to Professor Jan Holmgren, who was pioneering in this area, and the teams that have worked on this. And because of the oral cholera vaccine, the Global Task Force for cholera can now set its ambition at reducing 90% of cholera deaths by 2030. So coming back to the launch today and those two principles of Wellcome's approach, this partnership with Hillman Laboratories and Merck is one which over the long term has brought us to vaccine discovery, pulling through vaccines so that they can be taken up and scaled. This is really about finding affordable solutions, and the new oral cholera vaccine is one of those solutions. Further, the partnership between Hillman Laboratories and Bharat Biotech makes sure that this vaccine is pulled through to regulatory approval here in India, and then to be able to deploy manufacturing at scale to then take this even further. So, on behalf of Wellcome, thank you for this partnership, and thank you for this joint journey we're making together towards that 2030 target to reduce cholera deaths.
Thank you so much, Dr. Julia. for addressing the gathering. Thank you so much for gracing the event as well. Thanks a lot. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move forward. I would like to now request our distinguished guest of honor, Dr. Jacob T. John, to come forward to address the gathering. Can we please have you here, Dr. John, who's an eminent virologist and father of Pulse Polio program in India. Can we please have you here, sir?
Thank you very much. Esteemed guests, Krishna, Ella, Suchitra, Jala, Rachis, Krishna Mohan, and all the scientists and staff of the Bharat Biotech group, diplomats, members of the press, my friends in pediatrics, my friends in microbiology. This is a great moment when we are launching, they are launching, we are participating in that, of a fantastic oral cholera vaccine. What is common between Mycobacterium tuberculosis and Vibrio cholerae? Both were discovered by Robert Koch. Robert Koch actually came to India because of the cholera discovery. What's common between diphtheria and cholera? Both are bacterial diseases due to the toxins. The bacteria themselves do not invade. And the diphtheria, you protect with the vaccine against the toxin. In cholera, interestingly, you protect against the bacteria and you can protect against the toxic disease. Okay, before I close, I think you will not forgive me if I don't say this because you will hear it later on. Just in last 1 month, 2 papers have been published about polio. One saying that intestinal immunity is irrelevant for polio eradication. Second, clinching once and for all the fact that the transmission of polio virus is not fecal oral, it is respiratory. People get reinfected again and again, children, youth, and adults. And so the chains of transmission are many, reaching the children and giving them infantile paralysis. Whereas in measles and rubella, varicella, diphtheria, pertussis, you can see the transmission chains. In polio, you don't see the chain. So therefore, that mystery was solved with one theory: environment. Actually, it is people. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thanks a lot. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our next guest of honor. And I would request all of you to join me in welcoming him. Let's welcome Professor K. VijayRaghavan to address the gathering, ladies and gentlemen. Requesting you, sir, to please be here. And the honor is all ours.
Thank you very much, everybody, Krishna and all of Bharat Biotech, for having me here, and it's wonderful to share the dais with my colleagues here. First of all, warmest congratulations to Bharat Biotech, Hillman Laboratories, Merck, Wellcome Trust for the launch of this oral cholera vaccine. It's a very important day, and I'm sure, as we've heard from Krishna Mohan, that this addresses a huge need, and going forward, we're going to see that need met, and the goals of reducing the burden of cholera will be attained. You have a variety of experts in cholera here and experts in vaccines. My own, coming into this sphere was, I was parachuted in when I became Secretary Biotechnology, and even a bit before that, I had interactions with Raj Bhan. Now, Raj Bhan, before he became Secretary Biotechnology, and during his tenure as Secretary Biotechnology, was a huge force collaborating with industry on one side, with academia, and with international organizations on the third side, to address vaccine preventable diseases, and that was absolutely fantastic. One of the structures which the government of India has to address vaccine preventable diseases is the National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization, and as Secretary Biotechnology, along with the Secretary Health Research and the Secretary Health, the NTAGI provided guidance on immunization programs, and that's when thrown into the deep end with good advice from people like Rajbhan, Cherry Kang, Soumya. Many important vaccines were rolled out in India. Now, I won't go into vaccines specifically, but let me tell you what the challenges we face very briefly and how we should address them. The important situation we have at hand is that much of our response to unmet needs in the global south, as it's called, and for vaccine preventable diseases, comes from fundamental research substantially done in the West. That needs to change in today's world and can change in today's world because we have built a huge capacity for research here. So unless we drive research on vaccines, on vaccine preventable diseases, on the diseases themselves on large scale in India, we are going to be in trouble. We cannot keep depending on the countries of the West for the fundamental advances. We should and can partner with them, but we should drive that. So that's one important point. The next important point which we should push is about surveillance. Epidemiology, surveillance, it needs to be scaled up. We have robust mechanisms within government for that, but we need to scale it up so that it is democratized and available to citizens. When you have a fever, you know you have a fever and you can measure that with a thermometer. That kind of flexibility needs to be there for a variety of diseases, at-home diagnosis of various diseases. Upload that information digitally so that we have a better idea of disease prevalence. That's the second point, which is feasible. The third point is that we have to combine these kinds of information to ask where is the next pandemic likely to be coming from. And that requires epidemiology, modeling, scenario modeling on scale, a partnership between mathematicians, statisticians, computer scientists, and biologists, epidemiologists of various kinds. That needs to be done on scale. In India, we have an institute for X and an institute for Y, but this has to be a national mission. All our institutions, our public institutions and private institutions, need to scale that hugely. Next, we go on to treatment, drugs and vaccines. As I said, relying heavily on what is happening in the West and standing on those shoulders is very important. We must continue to partner and do that, but we must also develop internal capability in a variety of ways. Vaccine development is not easy, even when the fundamental research is done. And partnerships with our institutions to both reduce costs of that and make them more effective is critically important. We can't rely on a handful of heroes who are shouldering all the load right now. That needs to be expanded into becoming a community effort on a large scale. The next point is about market risk and market failure. All of this costs money. And right now we are in a situation where a substantial part of the costs of this are borne by global agencies, Gavi, the Wellcome Trust, the Gates Foundation, and others. Governments of growing emerging economies need to increasingly put in a large share of resources to address this, not only in their own countries, but elsewhere. And that's something which is feasible because when everyone's healthy, everyone becomes richer and more well-to-do. Finally, let me end by saying that we have to go from a very high level of threshold which we have crossed. We have extraordinary capabilities in our fundamental research institutions, in our applied institutions, in our industry. Indian pharma is doing really well as one of the few sectors where it invests in research in addition to making products. And therefore, going from this high threshold into an action potential of scaling and addressing global problems is both feasible and necessary. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Vijay. I think that was amazing. Thanks a lot. So ladies and gentlemen, we all know that you love your phone and your phone loves your attention, but I request all of you to keep your phones in silent requesting everyone to please keep your phones in silent. Make sure if your phone rings, you'll maybe volunteer to give a speech. Remember that. All right, now let's move on to our next guest of honor, ladies and gentlemen. Let's invite Dr. Jan Holmgren to address the gathering. Can we please have you here, Dr. Holmgren? And yes, audience, make some noise and put your hands together.
Thank you. Dr. Krishnayala, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor and privilege for me to take part of this very special event in the history of cholera vaccines. I wish to thank Dr. Krishnayala and Bharat Biotech warmly for the invitation to join here today. Today is indeed a historic day for cholera vaccines. As described by Dr. Krishna Mohan earlier, this new oral cholera vaccine is groundbreaking in at least two important aspects. It is the first truly novel inactivated oral cholera vaccine after the first effective vaccine, Dukoral, 30 years ago. Other licensed such vaccines, as Shankol and Uvicol, were directly based on and have the same components as the Dukoral vaccine. This new vaccine now also gives the world the opportunity to realize the World Health Organization's strategy for ending cholera by 2030. This strategy has not been realistic for as long as the global manufacturing capacity was limited to current 40 million doses per year, because the real need for vaccine is at least 150 million doses per year and more likely 200 million doses per year. Now, with this new vaccine, which is much easier and cost-effective to produce, and with the impressive facilities for large-scale manufacturing developed by Bharat Biotech, as we heard about, the world can no longer blame the inadequate control of cholera on lack of production capacity of vaccine. I sincerely hope that this new oral cholera vaccine, with its groundbreaking novel features, will be used to its full potential by the WHO and all its member countries in their global and national control programs of cholera. In this, I would also like to make a special plea to this country, India, to now also take the step to introduce public health vaccination against cholera in cholera-afflicted states or districts. I also wish to thank both Bharat and the MSD Wellcome Trust, Hilleman Laboratories, for the collaboration I and my team at the University of Gothenburg have had the pleasure to have with you over many years. It is 10 years ago since Dr. Michael Lebans, who is here with me today and who played a pivotal role in the development of this vaccine, first met with Dr. Davinder Gill, the then CEO, and the chief scientist, Tarun Sharma, at the Hilleman Laboratories, and started collaboration on this project. And for the last 3 to 4 years, we've had the great pleasure of also working directly with Bharat Biotech and with Dr. Krishna Mohan and his associates here. On behalf of both Michael Lebans and myself, I think it's a privilege to acknowledge the collaboration we have had with both Hilleman and Bharat, and we wish to warmly congratulate you to success with this new vaccine, and we feel proud that we have been able to take a small part in its development. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Dr. Holmgren. And now, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together in welcoming our distinguished chief guest, Mr. Sanat Chattopadhyay, to come forward and address the gathering. Can we please have you here, Mr. Sanat, for this special occasion?
Can you hear me okay? Should I be louder? Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, Professor Holmgren, Professor Raghavan, Dr. Kemp, Dr. John, and of course my beloved friend, Dr. Krishna Ella, the perfect role model of an entrepreneur scientist. Let me begin by thanking all of you for being here to celebrate an enormous public health milestone today, which is the launch of a new cholera vaccine. Well, Hillcol, named for the Hilleman laboratories that contributed so greatly to its development, is not, of course, the first cholera vaccine, as you heard. But it is the most advanced, more because of the simplicity that Dr. John and Dr. Holmgren, as well as you heard from Krishna Mohan, it creates a very different profile for the future. It not only protects against one of the newest strains of the disease, but it also fills a drastic need for more supply as the burden of cholera globally rises, especially in the low and middle-income countries. And as we stand here today, we recognize not just the launch of the Hillcol vaccine, but also honor the decades' worth of milestones that led to this moment. And these milestones include the significant strides India has made over the past decade. These strides encompass advancements in infrastructure, technology, and accessibility. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has set a vision for self-reliant India, exemplified by the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign. This campaign extends to the healthcare sector through the Atmanirbhar Swasth Bharat Yojana, which aims to strengthen India's healthcare system and ensure quality healthcare is accessible to all citizens. And, admittedly, the launch of Hillcol perfectly aligns with these very goals. This vaccine, developed through the collaboration between Indian and international partners, represent India's commitment to innovation, India's commitment to self-reliance in vaccine development. It's a testament to the strides made by the Indian healthcare in the past. Prime Minister Narendra Modi once said that the progress, or true progress, is always people-centric. No matter how many advances are made in medical science, access must always be assured to the last person at the last mile. Well, we are seeing the evidence of the country's focus and investment during the pandemic, when India supported a need for COVID vaccines, including one from esteemed Hilleman Labs partner, Bharat Biotech, whose research created the country's first indigenous COVID vaccine in India, allowing the country to become home to one of the world's largest and fastest COVID-19 vaccine was extremely important. Over the past decade, India has achieved significant milestones in the realm of public health, marking notable progress in enhancing life expectancy, curbing fertility rates, and mitigating maternal and child mortality rates. The country has made focused efforts to meet the targets set under Sustainable Development Goals. Moreover, India has witnessed a discernible enhancement in the proportion of resources allocated to the public sector reflecting a commitment to bolstering the nation's healthcare infrastructure. And that, of course, is something that we all have to be proud of. Now let's me pivot to the organization that was the driving force behind HillCall. You heard it from the previous speakers. It's named Hilleman Labs. That was named in the honor of Dr. Maurice Hilleman, a visionary scientist from MSD, known as Merck in US and Canada, who revolutionized vaccine research. Dr. Hilleman's brilliance resulted in the creation of numerous life-changing vaccines. He's credited with helping develop over 40 vaccines, including those for MMR, which is measles, mumps, and rubella, which have had a profound impact on public health. And as Dr. Krishnayala very nicely remarked, it is still a pity that he was not one of the ones who received Nobel Prize for the contribution he made to public health. Hilleman Labs has always been at the forefront of developing affordable vaccines for diseases that have had a significant impact on low and middle income countries, including cholera, and which was possible because of the collaboration that Dr. Kemp talked about between MSD and Wellcome Trust. That exemplifies the power of partnerships. It fosters collaboration between organizations, both local and global, to ensure affordable vaccine access and promote health equity. And this success of HillCall will remain a testament to this collaborative spirit, which aligns with the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Not only HillCall is a product of this unique partnership, not only it is a novel single-component oral cholera vaccine that protects against the newest strains of cholera, but we have to remember, as was beautifully articulated, that it remains a devastating bacterial diarrheal infection. 1/3, and I really mean it, 1/3 of nations are today at risk for cholera outbreaks, particularly in countries with poor sanitary conditions. Consider the outbreaks like those in Yemen and Haiti over the last decade. In war-torn Yemen, more than 1 million people contracted cholera. Haiti approached similar numbers, including nearly 10,000 deaths. Before its 2010 outbreak, Haiti had been cholera-free for nearly a century. So that is the world that we're dealing with. And when cholera hits, it is rapid and prolonged. And vaccines are the only key to stopping it, but sadly, outbreaks have outpaced supply. And that's the reason for HillCall entering the scene. And therefore, I salute the ones who have made it possible. And first and foremost, Dr. Jan Holmgren, the lead cholera researcher at the University of Gothenburg, and its spin-off biopharma company, Gotovax AB. Dr. Holmgren's team developed the strain of inactivated cholera that comprises HillCall. I also extend my utmost appreciation to Bharat Biotech. I was so glad when Dr. Krishnayala took on this challenge, when he had many other challenges to take on, and he had ample opportunity to say no to this, but he did not. And Bharat Biotech conducted the critical phase 3 studies on HillCall and licensed it for approval in India with the intent to proceed to pre-qualification from the WHO organization. It is the latest in a series of success for Bharat Biotech made in India vaccines, and it is a triumph. It's a triumph not only for Dr. Krishnayala, but also for Sai Prasad, for Krishna Mohan, and all the eminent scientists of Bharat Biotech. Partnerships like those beyond Hilleman Labs and HillCall are the best way to create multi-pronged solutions for complex health issues like access and affordability. And these are the lessons MSD and Wellcome Trust have learned time and again. As you heard from Dr. Kemp, Wellcome Trust over the last 85 years have made significant investments and have played a pivotal role in advancing global health equity, not to mention combating climate change and mental health. Much like Wellcome, MSD is a company committed to driving health equity. And we recognize the power of transformative partnerships like Hillman Labs in supporting our aspiration and long-standing commitment to access. In MSD, which is Merck in US and Canada, we have seen firsthand how collaboration to addressing health equity transformed the world. I'm proud to note that our Mectizan donation program is the longest running disease-specific drug donation program of its ever kind in the whole world, and nobody has seen anything like that so far since 1987. For over 35 years, this public-private partnership has made significant progress in fighting two neglected tropical diseases, river blindness and lymphatic filariasis. Our commitment to donate as much Mectizan as needed for as long as it needed, with a total of 5 billion donated treatments so far, have even allowed several countries in Latin America and Africa to eliminate the diseases. And in 2015, as you all know, Dr. William Campbell, a Merck research scientist, got Nobel Prize for that. Our efforts to improve public health doesn't stop here. Another impactful MSD effort was MSD for Mothers. We have reached more than 30 million women in more than 70 countries through programs promoting safe, high quality, and respectful maternal care. I'm thrilled to note that we exceeded our initial goal of reaching 25 million women by 2025 and continue to speed forward toward a goal of a world where no woman ever has to die while giving life. More than $650 million have been committed already in collaboration with the United Nations to make sure that we provide access to maternal health. But more importantly, these are only the stepping stones that all of us need to take to make the world a better place. We did the same thing when Ebola struck. We created the vaccine Ervebo, the world's first FDA-approved World Health Organization pre-qualified vaccine for the prevention of Ebola virus diseases. And Ervebo has a story not too dissimilar from Hillcall. When we undertook the development of Ervebo, we did so knowing its commercial potential was limited, but that the medical need for it was exceptional. And I used to get repeated phone calls from the WHO Director General to make it happen very fast. And I used to tell him that I'm not a magician, all I can do is try harder. Through an agreement with UNICEF, MSD built a 500,000 dose stockpile for Ervebo, and we continue to maintain that supply as Ebola outbreaks are addressed today. Well, all said, in summary, as we celebrate the launch of Hillcall today and what it means for the 160-year-old fight against cholera, let us also reflect upon what it means for public health. Through a shared dedication, countless lives will be impacted by the promise of increased cholera vaccine supply, which is a wonderful testament to what we can do by working together. On behalf of Hillman Labs and MSD, I extend my deepest gratitude to the partners, to the stakeholders, and dedicated healthcare professionals who work tirelessly alongside us to ensure that life-changing interventions like Hillcall reach those who need them most. And I feel for this sentence that I heard from Dr. Mohan, that when you do tech transfer, you don't know what you are in for. Having done tech transfer more than 250 molecules, from 250 kilodaltons, which is so small, to more than 25 million kilodaltons, which is so big, I know how miserable it is when you get a phase 1 tech transfer package and convert into a registration package. But unfortunately, that's the job of scientists, that's the job of engineers, that's the job that we know we do well, and we create value for the world. So let's continue in our journey forward to a healthier and more equitable world where access to quality healthcare is a fundamental right for all, and diseases like cholera are finally defeated. Thank you, and here's to the power of many.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sanath. Your speech was really impactful and your presence here is highly appreciated. Thank you so much, sir. And now let's move forward. We now request Dr. Raman Rao, Chief Executive Officer, Hillman Laboratories, to join us on stage to honor Mr. Sanath and Dr. Krishna Ella. Can we please have you here on the stage, sir? And can we please hear it louder for him? I once again thank Mr. Sanath and Dr. Krishna Ella for their presence here. Come on, everyone, all together, put your hands. Thank you so much, Dr. Raman Rao. Thank you for being here. We are honored to highlight the remarkable individuals whose efforts have elevated the importance of this event today. So we now request Mrs. Suchitra Ella, Managing Director, Bharat Biotech, to come on to stage to felicitate our special guest, Dr. Julia Kemp. Can we please have you on stage, ma'am? And audience, can you please show me the meter higher and higher? Yes. Requesting Mrs. Suchitra Ella to felicitate our special guest, Dr. Julia Kemp. Requesting Dr. Julia Kemp to please come in the center. Thank you so much, Dr. Julia Kemp, for gracing this event with your special presence. I would now request Mrs. Suchitra Ella to felicitate our guest of honor, Professor K. VijayRaghavan. Can we please have you here, sir? Please pose for a picture and say cheese, smile. Yay, thank you. Requesting Mrs. Suchitra Ella to felicitate our guest of honor, Professor K. VijayRaghavan. Requesting you both to please pose for a picture. Thank you so much. Now I request Mrs. Suchitra Ella to felicitate our guest of honor, Dr. Jacob T. John. Can we please have you here, Dr. John? Thank you, Dr. John, for being here and making this even more and more special with your presence. I request both of you to please pose for a picture. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mrs. Suchitra Ella, for your presence here. Thank you, means a lot.
Can't get away without doing this for a minute, a few seconds. It's a great honor and a pleasure, of course, to have the distinguished guests on the stage with us and the distinguished audience and friends of Hyderabad and Telangana. I'm so proud to present the Pochampalli Ikat shawls that we proudly call it home of Telangana and Hyderabad. These are from the local artisans, and I always take immense pride in showcasing the beauty and the colors that they all come out in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Love that voluntary speech of yours. Thank you so much. Can we hear it louder for her, ladies and gentlemen? And now I would request Dr. Krishna Ella to felicitate our guest of honor, Dr. Jan Holmgren. Can we please have you here, sir? Can we also have you here, Dr. Holmgren, please join us. And thank you so much for making this event more and more auspicious with your presence. Requesting you both to please pose for a picture, as Dr. Holmgren has a very beautiful smile. Thank you so much. And now I request Dr. Krishna Ella to please stay back to felicitate our chief guest, Mr. Sanath. Can we please have you here, Mr. Sanath Chattopadhyay? And can we please hear it louder, ladies and gentlemen? Come on. It's for our chief guest. Come on, everyone, together. Thank you so much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving to an exciting part of this event. Well, this is the moment that we have been waiting for. And I request the lights to be dimmed at this moment. Can we please have the lights to be dimmed at this moment, please? Well, if you are wondering that we are wrapping up the event without unveiling the product, then please don't go by that, because, ladies and gentlemen, let's reveal the star of the day as we approach the culmination of this incredible event. It's time to unveil the true star of the day. Hold your excitement, ladies and gentlemen, and I want the audience meter to be high and high. Are you all ready, ladies and gentlemen? No, come on. I need it louder and full of excitement. Are you all ready to welcome the hero of the hour? We request our chief guest, Mr. Sanath Chattopadhyay, to click the remote button to launch the next generation oral cholera vaccine. Ladies and gentlemen, I request our chief guest, Mr. Sanath Chattopadhyay and Dr. Jan Holmgren to unveil the product. Can we please have you here, both of you, sir? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bharat Biotech's next generation oral cholera vaccine, Hilcol, requesting both of you to please unveil the product. Ladies and gentlemen, I would request Dr. Julia Kemp to hand over the newly launched next generation oral cholera vaccine Hilcol product packs to our esteemed guest. Can we hear it louder, ladies and gentlemen? I think this is the most important moment right now that we've been waiting for. Yes, make some noise. Come on, everyone. I request dignitaries on the stage, please pose for the photographs. What an extraordinary launch we've just witnessed. Let's give a resounding round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Bharat Biotech the strong force behind the next generation oral cholera vaccine Hilcol. Well, together we gather here to mark a monumental achievement, a milestone that represents not just scientific progress, but also the enduring spirit of compassion, dedication, and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are excited to present a special video that highlights the journey and significance behind this landmark achievement. We would be honored Dr. VijayRaghavan could present this video for us by a click. Please, let's roll the video.
In communities around the world, water is life. But sometimes it carries hidden dangers. Cholera affects 3 million people every year, especially in vulnerable communities. It is responsible for over 95,000 deaths annually in over 29 countries. At a time like this, the global cholera vaccine shortage is causing a crisis.
29 countries have reported outbreaks this year, including 13 countries that did not have outbreaks last year.
Decades of scientific rigor have culminated into a new hope. Introducing Hilcol, our novel oral cholera vaccine designed to lower the burden of cholera on a global scale, especially in lower and middle income countries. Invented in University of Gothenburg, developed in Holmgren laboratories, in partnership with Wellcome Trust and with MSD, further developed by Bharat Biotech into the world's first safe and efficacious cholera vaccine. Hilcol is a groundbreaking oral cholera vaccine that provides an effective defense against cholera by stimulating the immune system against Vibrio cholerae, preventing infection and reducing transmission. For nearly 30 years, we at Bharat Biotech have been making life-saving vaccines and changing lives. Along with its partners, Bharat Biotech aims to help eradicate cholera using Hilcol to help those who need it the most and build healthier, safer communities. Stay informed, stay safe, and join us in the fight against cholera. For more information, visit www.bharatbiotech.com.
It is indeed a great moment and demonstrates the power of scientific cooperation and innovation. This breakthrough reflects the dedication and collaborative efforts of scientists committed to advancing global health. With this groundbreaking vaccine, we are not just launching a new product, we are launching hope. Hope for millions who live under the constant threat of cholera. So ladies and gentlemen, ending cholera begins here. Can we make some noise and put your hands together for this amazing Hilcol vaccine, ladies and gentlemen? Well, we truly appreciate our guests' participation and support. May I gently request our distinguished guests to step off the stage and kindly get back to your seats, requesting all of you. Thank you so much for being a part. Thank you so much for cooperating, and thank you so much for such impactful presentation, ladies and gentlemen. Requesting all our guests to please take back your seats. Well, this is more than just a breakthrough, ladies and gentlemen. It represents the remarkable brilliance of Bharat Biotech scientists and showcases our collective capability in advancing science. Well, this historic milestone in global health has the potential to save countless lives and marks a significant achievement in vaccine innovation. As we bring today's momentous event to a close, it's our privilege to invite Mr. Sai Prasad to the stage to deliver the vote of thanks. Can we please have you here on the stage, sir, Mr. Sai Prasad? And I want the audience to make some noise and put your hands together for Mr. Sai Prasad.
Thank you very much. I was supposed to be on stage at 12:47 p.m. I think we're 3 minutes ahead of schedule, so that's good for a program that we organized. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm immensely honored to join the launch of HillCall, a global solution to end cholera. I was reflecting on the words that Mr. Sanath was mentioning about unmet medical need. You're talking about Ebola, and for us, 5 years ago, we were discussing about cholera, and that's how product development discussions happen in a vaccine company. We're not looking at markets and revenues and profits to see which product to develop. Rather, we're looking at unmet medical need, and that's a classic case study. Thank you, Sanath, for that. I thank Dr. Krishna Ella for his visionary leadership in bringing HillCall, a single-strain next-generation cholera vaccine, to life. A special thank you to Professor Jans Holmgren and Professor Michael Lebens and their colleagues at the University of Gothenburg, whose decades of dedication on not just HillCall but several other cholera vaccines helped in the development of this vaccine. Today we celebrate not just a new vaccine but also an important milestone in the journey that you began, Dr. Holmgren and Dr. Lebens. I want to thank our chief guest, Mr. Sanath Chattopadhyay, Executive Vice President of MSD and also the President of Manufacturing. It's an honor and a pleasure to have him here. We all know how busy he is. I think he oversees something like more than 70 manufacturing sites all over the world. I don't think the sun ever sets on the manufacturing activities of Merck in any part of the world. So thank you so much. And also Professor VijayRaghavan, Principal Scientific Advisor, ex-Principal Scientific Advisor for the Government of India, and for being here with us today. Thank you, sir, for your continued support. And also, you must be looking at the pack. This vaccine is not presented in a vial, which is what classical vaccines are presented. This is presented in a plastic tube, but specifically for the folks who are into manufacturing, this plastic tube comes out of a blow-fill seal technology. That plastic tube is formed, filled, and sealed all within a second or two. So that's a new technology that we have deployed. A first time for any vaccine in the world to use blow-fill seal technology, and we have started with this oral vaccine right now. A heartfelt thanks to Dr. Julia Kemp. Thank you, ma'am, who's the Head of International Research Investments at Wellcome Trust. Your presence underscores global significance of our work. Dr. Jacob John, a great friend for polio viruses, but not just polio, but many, many other diseases for our country. And I'm also proud to say that Dr. Jacob John and I share the same hometown, that is Vellore, in southern part of India. So thank you so much, sir, for being here today. I want to thank Mrs. Suchitra Ella, our Managing Director, who has been a guiding force on all aspects of products, personnel, and projects in our company. To all our esteemed guests from academia, media, and other industries, and most importantly, our regulators who help guide us through the regulatory process, especially for these complex vaccines and product development efforts, which are not a cookie-cutter approach and what happened with other products. Finally, a big thank you to all my colleagues at Bharat Biotech, our pillars of strength, for your unwavering determination and relentless efforts. None of this would have been possible without you. And I repeat again, I see a big contingent in the back. None of these would have been possible without each